tuning in. So we're going to do a quick video on how to take a modern HEMI out of a Charger, Challenger, 300, even the Magnum wagon. They're all the same. This is a 2006 Charger, and a while back I bought it from the scrap yard. It had a modern, well, it had a Jasper motor without a ton of miles on it. I was able to take the Jasper tag and run it through the system, and it told me how many miles were on the motor. So I bought the car specifically for the motor, and we were going to put this motor in Nikki's Charger. She had a ton of miles on her cop car Charger. Anyway, the car's gone, so we don't need the motor anymore. I'm selling it to a friend of mine. He's going to put it in a Dodge Daytona. And so I'm going to walk you through the steps. Me and my buddy Keegan are going to take this thing down and out. We're going to drop it down from the bottom and show you can pull these motors out of any of those cars in about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, as long as you have a lift. The lift makes it a little bit easier. And so here we go. Underneath, a couple things we're doing really quick. First and foremost, we're going to take this down with the transmission together with the whole cradle. It's not necessary to undo the torque converter from the flywheel, but if you go to split the tranny off of the motor later on and it's on the ground, it would be hard to get to. So underneath the transmission over here, you have an access plate. You take your access plate off. This one didn't even have it put back on, but you take your access plate off, and then you have your torque converter bolts, flywheel bolts. Flywheel is here, torque converter is behind it. And as long as you get these guys out, they're 13 mil, and to get these guys out, you're gonna have to turn the motor 21 millimeter socket in front where the harmonic balancer is. That would be this crank, very bottom crank on the motor. Put a 21 millimeter and turn that slowly, and then you can expose your bolts over here that are going into the torque converter, and then you get these little guys out one at a time. As you turn the motor, you can reach them, you can see the holes up there, and then get those guys out. I also took the bottom transmission bell housing bolts out, so once again, when it's on the ground, we can split this motor and not have to worry about getting underneath it to get to this stuff. So first step, torque converter, bolts, exhaust. You're gonna have to get the exhaust down. So you got two studs over here on the exhaust manifold. We took those bolts out, and the exhaust starts to want to already come down. And then this exhaust comes down really easy, all in one piece. You've got your rubber hangers over here, right behind the actual mufflers, and I don't cut them, I don't rip them. I just slide them right off of this little hanger portion. And then over here, you got 13 millimeter bolts, and that keeps the tailpipes up. So you got two 13 mil, you got these rubber hangers that you pop off, and then you got your exhaust studs up there on the cats, where the catalytics hit the actual exhaust manifolds. You get that, this whole thing will come down on one piece, and then you're gonna have to do your drive shaft. Drive shaft couplers, rubber couplers. Some of you Charger, Challenger, 300, Magnum guys know about these. These rubber couplers start to deteriorate and get bad. You get vibration. So if you ever change those, you'll know how to get these drive shafts off. It's pretty easy. And it is a torque bolt with a nut. And you got them over here too. I don't know if you can see that up there. So you got 3 there. So this drive shaft's ready to come down. 3 there and 3 in the back. And then you got your cross member bolts over here. You got 4 cross member bolts. And that's it. We're gonna take a few more bolts out. And then I got the strap holding the exhaust because it just wants to fall out completely. So we put a strap over here to the frame rail holes. And then this is hanging there. And then the bolts in the back where the tailpipes are finger tight, and then we can take this whole thing down. We're going to shut the camera off and then get it down and then show you. All right, the exhaust is coming down. It takes 2. We're going to take it down, complete set. took that thing down. Had some cat said he wanted to buy it, and I took it down, and somebody wanted to hear the motor, so I put it back up. All right, I got Keegan. He is taking down the carrier bearing, holding up the drive shaft, and I just got through taking off some bell housing bolts, starter bolts. Like I was saying, when this thing's on the ground, we're gonna split the transmission from the motor, and I didn't want to have to fight to get everything underneath the motor, so anything you can do while it's up in the air, now's the time to do it. Torque converter bolts, mentioned that. Got to do the torque converter bolts. Got to get all of them off if you want to split this transmission from the motor. What size were those torque bolts?
The torque bolts themselves were the T55 for the star bit, and then an 18 millimeter wrench on the other side.
Yep. So T55 torques were here on the rubber coupler. That's on the drive shaft, front and back. So we took 3 off here in the front on the tranny, and then 3 off here on the back where the differential is. And this drive shaft will come down. You seen we got the exhaust down, and then the next thing we will do is these for the transmission support. 4 bolts on that, and then the rest of the work I think is going to be up top.
The carrier bearing bolts are 13 millimeters as well. Just
Okay.
a small one.
All right, good to know.
Yep, one on each side.
Okay, come on a little closer. Transmission cross member. Took 2 bolts out, loosened up the other ones. Not gonna take these out now because the engine may want to rock. So we're just gonna get it closer to the ground. We'll get these out, and then also when it's closer to the ground, I got one of these cradle. So you have the cradle here, K member, cross member, cradle. It's called several things. These bolts go into the frame, and you got 4 of them. One here, you got one up here, and then on the opposite side, pretty much the same way. So we're gonna get it closer to the ground, and then we'll take the impact, we'll zip those out, and then we'll zip the cross member out, and then this motor will start to loosen up. We already knocked the control arm off of the upper control arm, ball joint. We knocked that off, knocked this one off. And when the car's on the ground, we'll have to take 3 bolts out of the top of the strut. There's 3 bolts going through the strut tower. Okay, I got my good hat dirty, and we've got everything here. We're starting to lift the body off the motor. All the hard work's pretty much done underneath. Actually, the hard work is from underneath, and you gotta do your top stuff. You gotta do your heater hoses, you gotta do your harness, your wiring harness. It all unplugs. Your computer over here, everything unplugged right from this point, and then we just raise the body up a little bit and then look around, make sure nothing's getting snagged. We had to get the heater hoses off of the firewall. Those are for the heater core. A couple AC lines. You got a couple of power steering lines. Of course, you have your upper and lower radiator. The radiator and everything is staying in the car. What?
Steering shaft.
Yeah, steering shaft. There's 1 bolt down on the K member on the actual cradle for the power steering, and there's a spline with 1 bolt. Undo the bolt, and then the hook steering rod stays into the actual body of the car, and that's it. So you can see the motor is free from everything. We're rocking the body on the lift. You could do it without a lift, but it would be a lot more difficult. Some people would jack up the whole vehicle and then do it and then get the motor out from underneath it. I'm going to go up with it. Let's see what happens. It's a good idea to go a little bit and then step back. Keep your eye on that in the back there. I think it's just maybe on the hose.
Yep, that looks like it.
Miss this little guy here. That's okay. All right, going up. Something snagged. Or is that just the motor rocking?
I think it was just a motor rocking.
Okay. Okay. Our starter wire is loose, right?
Yep.
And when I go all the way up, right, you can then get a front picture and watch the body coming off. Once you know everything is free.
Okay, hold it. Starter wire got snagged there.
All right,
Okay.
going up.
Yep.
Look good?
Yep, look good.
What's that noise over there?
That was just a strut. Oh, hold on. You got a brake line on this side.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a, yeah.
Other than the brake line, it's coming up.
Yep. We can snip that now that it's stretched 8 feet. Okay. Do the honors. Snip it. Snip it. Come on, put power in it. All right. Well, Keegan's clowning around with that line. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this helps. Remember the Charger, Challenger, the 300, the Magnum, they all come out this way. And that's it. Please remember to subscribe and like and comment. And I'm always looking for some pointers because I don't know it all. Thank you.